Hey everybody, Denny Van here, Heartfelt Awakening. I am going to talk today really quick about manifestation, the law of attraction, and other universal laws that can either support or hinder your manifestation process. I'm getting a lot of questions and a lot of concerns and frustrations about law of attraction not working, and I'm really focused on this thing and it's not happening. What is going on with my life? Why do I attract narcissists? Why are all these things happening? So you know, in my book, Spiritual Awakening is not religious, it's physics. In the chapter about scales, balancing scales, there's two parts which create a whole. So you know, with a set of scales, there are two parts. There's the scales that move and weigh, and this is really the world, our 3D world, how it's constantly moving, changing, balancing itself out. And then there's a part of you that doesn't move, that holds the space for all of this action and activity to happen, and that's the fulcrum. So you, being no different than nature, also have two parts which create a whole. There's the human being part of you. So the human is like the scales, constantly moving, changing, never the same. You can't trust them. You can't control it either. So this is the human part of you. This is our material, worldly part from this realm, this 3D realm that we use our five senses to bring in information and translate into our nervous system. So that's one part of you. The being part of you is like the fulcrum. It doesn't move. It's not part of the human. It's what animates this human. And I'm getting questions about reality transurfing. If you haven't heard about it, go check out Vadim Zealand, Reality Transurfing, Steps 1 through 5. It's 765 pages, translated from Russian into English. But basically, in his theory about pendulums and balancing forces, so those two things alone, and he's got all kinds of wonderful quantum physics, metaphysical stuff that will blow your mind, but just these two theories alone, pendulums and balancing forces. So we're going to talk about those two, but most of us know law of attraction, and really the law of attraction is the universal law of cause and effect. So in Vadim's book, he talks about cause and effect being like a mirror. So if you look in a mirror and you see an image, we have a tendency to want to change the image that we're seeing. We can't change what we're seeing. We have to go here before we look at the image and change this here. And then he talks about pendulums, and what I like to call pendulums are more or less hooks. And this is what I say: your focus, attention, and awareness is your number one most precious gift. So your focus, you're in your fulcrum, you're in your center, nothing can throw you off balance. You're right here, and your energy is open, and you are flowing. What pendulums are is anything that takes your attention off you, off your boundaries, off your path. So a pendulum is a hook. It's really a hook. Whether it's good or bad, whether you're looking at something, oh, I really, really want that, or whether you're looking at something else and saying, oh, that's bad, that has to change. These are hooks, and there's big hooks, and there's tiny little subtle hooks. But what these hooks do, or what Vadim calls pendulums, these hook our attention and our focus. So it's not here in our center anymore. It's off on something, creating fluctuations in a balance. So once we look at something, we're now giving our attention to it. We're giving importance to it. Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. This is why the Buddha said middle path. So it doesn't matter what it is you're giving your attention to, you're actually feeding it. So become aware of when you're feeding these hooks or these pendulums that get you hooked, and all of a sudden you're looking at it, you're researching, you're saying that shouldn't happen, signing petitions and all of these things. You're feeding this entity. It's not conscious. It just grows with energy fed to it, and then it disappears if nobody even looks at it anymore. So these are pendulums. And then Vadim talks about these balancing forces. So let's say, for example, you're on your metaphysical journey, and you're looking at these balancing forces, you know, you're looking at, ooh, I really want this, I really want a red car, I really, really want a red car. All of these other cars come into your experience except the car you want. So you're actually creating more tension, which brings in balancing forces. So for example, if I'm looking, I really want a red car, I'm actually, my looking at it and giving attention to it is giving weight to it. So what's happening on the other side, right? So I'm giving attention to whatever it is I want. What happens on the other side? It's out of balance. So if I can say, you know, a red car would really be nice, but a reliable car and something to get me to work would really, really be great. Let it go. I'm not giving importance to just a red car. And then I say it would be great, stay center. Don't give importance to, oh my God, what if I don't get it? What if I don't get the car I really want? Then we're looking at the possibilities of what we don't want, again, creating and triggering balancing forces, because if we're looking at what we don't want, the other side is moving, and so these balancing forces will come in to balance it back out, which means you don't get what you want, you get what you don't want, right? How many times, you know, Vadim talks about how many times have you been late for work, and it's the one time you get behind the old lady driving two miles an hour on her way to church, and you are in a hurry and you just cannot get anywhere. So you're looking at, oh my gosh, I'm late, I'm late, I'm late, I'm late. Guess what? You're going to be late. So if you can stay in the middle, I'll arrive when I arrive, and just go and allow the flow. You might even arrive early. Time might change for you. You just don't know, because these balancing forces are going to work for you because your focus is not on one side, creating weight or relativity, or the other side, and then triggering these other universal laws. Because the law of attraction is based on the law of cause and effect. You are the cause. What's happening in your external world is the effect. Whatever you're looking at could be the cause, and then triggering balancing forces is going to be the effect. So I hope this helped you clarify how you can really kind of flow through life instead of getting stuck on one side or trapped on the other, because you know, it starts with you. Change starts here, and we want to change our outside world. We can't start with the outside world. It's like starting with the image that you see in the mirror, trying to change the image you see in the mirror. That's how ridiculous it is. But this is what we're doing. We're trying to change our outside image when it has to start with every single one of us inside. Once that inside changes, it takes time. But stick with the image that you want to see in your world, and over time, the external image, what we see, will change. All right, with that said, thank you so much for listening in, and you have a day full of blessings. We are all about aligning body, breath, and spirit. Keep being your awesome self.